what's going on with Bitcoin specifically itself? Well, we know that it's still taking a breather. It hasn't moved. It's still around 42, whatever. The RSI does hit a 4-month low, even though the price is up 70%. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. So it does seem like we are resetting. We're getting that consolidation phase once again, waiting for overbought situation. Recently with SPY ETF approval, we pumped up to 49,000, waiting for that to reset, and then Bitcoin will be ready to rock. And here's another look at this, how the highs and the lows have been getting higher, and the daily RSI has actually been staying put, going sideways and actually going down a little bit. So that is looking pretty good. And of course, overall, it's looking good too, because just look at what's happened before, right when we have gotten close to the halving event. Let's not forget the halving event is right around the corner. So after the halving event is when you get the most bullish times, and that's 3 months away. You know, those of us that's in the know, that's been in the space, we know that the halving event's a big deal. But people outside, people that are not in the know, they have no idea what a halving event is, right? So that's one clear example where being in this space gives you a huge advantage over someone not in this space. Because we know that the 4-year cycle is basically built on this halving event that occurs every 4 years. And it's right there. It's right there. And then you compound that, the FOMO-ness, that's not even a word, but I'm going to make it up. The FOMO-ness after a halving event increases dramatically. And then you compound that with the availability of ETFs now, and institutions also FOMO in with the retail investors. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, that's how I feel. Here's a better look of what happens every single cycle. Literally, this is what happens every single cycle. This is not even exaggerated. This is what happens every single cycle. That big climb upwards happens after every halving cycle, every single time. So now we're in the 4th cycle. If you were a betting person, would you say that we deviate this time around, or would we do something similar to previous times? If I was a betting man, I would say the latter. Again, halving event coming up, and then we have that parabolic run. That has always been the case, and I don't expect anything different this time around. And here's the thing, because this is based on years, what you're seeing is years, all the little dips you don't see. You just see green, right? But trust me, there's a lot of dips. There's a lot of red in between. I've shown you guys charts, 20, 30% dips. They happen during these parabolic runs. Does that mean the run is over? No. That's why having patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to investing. And just know that DCA and accumulation over the long haul is the winning strategy when it comes to Bitcoin, because you're just letting the gains come to you. Because of this, even if you held for 4 years and you held all the way to the bottom, right, you are rewarded after the next halving event, which is coming up in just a few months. This is the one metric that really matters. It's probably the most boring metric there is for Bitcoin, but the most important metric, because this measures the network security, okay? And I'm talking about the hash rate. Again, those of you guys in this space, you know this, and you're like, this is boring. I don't want to know about hash rate. But you guys realize that this is the most important metric there is, because this measures basically the compute power in cumulative around the world from all the miners that are trying to find the next Bitcoin. They're mining Bitcoin, and they do so with these machines, and the output of those machines are measured in hash, or the hash rate, right? So basically, as this number goes higher, that means there's more machines trying to mine Bitcoin, which means that it becomes virtually more impossible to ever hack. This is why Bitcoin's network is the most decentralized in the world and the safest network in the world, because it has never been hacked before, and it's virtually impossible because there's no way to hack this. There is just no way to hack it. You can't make changes. You can't make new add-ons or try to inject something without majority of the miners agreeing to it, and it's just impossible. And even if you wanted to hack it, you would have to do a 51% attack, which means you have to replicate the network and you take over 51% of the hash rate, which again becomes more and more impossible as the hash rate goes up. And here's the most important thing about all of this. Not only is the network becoming more impossible to hack, the price follows the hash rate. It always has and always will. So if the hash rate continues to go upwards, there is basically nothing to worry about. If you see a dramatic drop, like in 2021, you saw that dramatic drop with hash rate. The only reason why that happened is because China decided to kick out all the miners. That's why we saw that drop. Other than that, basically the hash rate just keeps going up, like the price. Like basically like this, the price just keeps going up, even with all the downs, but the hash rate keeps on going up. That's important. This is the most important metric there is for Bitcoin, in my opinion, the hash rate. The price trails the hash rate. It always has and always will. But as long as the hash rate is going up, you know the price is going up because the miners are mining, they're securing the network, and because of the halving event, the inflation rate is getting cut in half, and eventually there's just going to be no more Bitcoin. But these guys are not giving up. They keep on increasing their hash rate, which means they keep on increasing the security of Bitcoin and making it more scarce. So this is the most important metric there is. It may be the most boring metric, but it is the most important, in my opinion. And it's still looking pretty darn good. And lastly, in case you wanted more verification that we're going to the parabolic bull stage, here's another one. The market cycle model from Plan B, pretty colored dots. And we are in still, according to this, accumulation stage because we have not hit that parabolic bull stage yet. We're getting close, but not quite there yet. Okay, all we have to wait for is a red dot. That's when we know. I'm just kidding. We don't need to wait for red dots to know. The halving event is around the corner. The hash rate is all-time high. And there's other metrics that show that Bitcoin is only getting stronger. So again, we're just moving according to plan. Nothing has deviated. And when you zoom out like this, you don't see all the dips. You don't see all the accumulation periods. You don't see the consolidation periods. You just see parabolic climbs over and over and over again. But there are a lot of dips throughout every single cycle. So don't be fearing yourself out. You are your worst own enemy, right? That is the case. There's a lot of people that throw FUD out there. But you, if you believe in that, well, then you are the chump. You don't want to be the chump. You don't want to pass your gains or your life-changing wealth to anyone else. You want to keep it for yourself. So educate yourself, look at what Bitcoin is doing right now and understand Bitcoin in its entirety. Then you will be a long-term holder forever. Well, if you truly understand what Bitcoin's about and you know how to measure its strengths, like how I've been telling you guys, then you will be a Bitcoin holder forever. And more people are Bitcoin holders forever. That's why the supply keeps decreasing and long-term holder percentage keeps on increasing.